Hey guys, I think we're going to continue the what to look for when you buy a race car and the Sigmund table because so many people ask about this table. So let's start out with the what other things to look for in a car. So this thing was purchased unfinished. There was a body on it. The body was taken off. I just cut it off. Because it wasn't mounted completely correctly to the print, and when we would eventually put tires on this thing, it would have looked weird. The body would have sat on the chassis weird. So the other thing was this part of the frame section. So this is the rear cross member. These are the rear frame rails and the rear kicks. This part of the frame was actually downhill. It was perpendicular. Well, it wasn't perpendicular. It was still parallel and it was in line, but it was downhill like that. So when you get off to the back of the table and you measure back here, this dimension from here to the deck is supposed to be 1 5/8, and it was like 10 inches. I'm sorry, 11 5/8, and it was like 10 inches. So it had dropped down quite a bit. Sorry, excuse me there. So basically leveled the rails. So we'll get into the Sigmund system a little bit. Let's walk around to the print for this car. We're going to go all over the place in this video. So this is a print for Chassis Works G Street. This is Chris Alston's Ultimate Pro Tour chassis, right? So I wanted to get the frame rail level. So the Sigmund table's level. It's leveled to a 64th of an inch from end to end, and this table's 10 feet without the extensions, and these are 2-foot extensions. These also come in 4 feet, so you can get out, out even here if you wanted. And then you could actually put another piece on here. There's all kinds of stuff. It's like a giant erector set made out of 1-inch chromoly that's then hardened and everything. All right, so let's get back to that. I wanted to get the frame rails level, right? So the table's level, we already know that. We set the verniers right here. So these are vernier height adjusters. Put 4 underneath the center of the car. So I basically put 1 right here, 1 there, and then on the other side the same thing, right? So you can sort of see it hiding in there. It's adjustable right in there. You just turn the knurls, in or out, and set the adjustment with them. And you can actually make those out to like 10 inches in height or something like that. Yeah, probably about 8 to 10 inches in height. So I set it at all 4 corners of the main rails, which is kind of what you see right there, right? So where those 4 yellow clamps are, those clamps are holding it to the verniers underneath, right? All right, so we got that settled. Then I was looking at the back here, and it was actually down a little bit. Very little, though. This measurement was only off maybe 3/16 of an inch or something like that. So I figured the bend must have been right in this area here. Either it was assembled wrong, which is not likely with Alston parts because everything comes, it's all either laser cut or robot cut or something. There usually isn't ever a problem with any of Chris's chassis pieces, right? So just kind of walking you through the chassis and this thing so you kind of get an idea. All right, so it was either welded together incorrectly or something, right? All right, so I went to the back and I set this vernier all the way in the back here. You can see how the table has upright 90-degree brackets that you can put in real quick. Everything's QD on this table, which we'll go over in a second. So I set this up. These ones are stationary, right? These are centerless washers. They're metric. So this came out to whatever, 4 5/8 inches or something like that. So I set that in there on this assembly, right? So you kind of get an idea how you can kind of piece all this stuff together and how these actually go in and hold the stuff, right? Hold the components. Like, see, I can loosen this up. Pull it out. That's what you're looking at, right? That's how it holds it in place. So we're doing a little, like I said, this video is going to be all over the place. So we go down in there, we push it in, tighten it up, and it's tight, right? Okay, so I set these on both sides, and then I just, with a bottle jack, came right in here, picked it up, set it down, and it was a little bit sprung. So I got the torch, and I just warmed the rail here, along here, back down here, all four sides of this, and in here, right? Keeping it locked in here and up here. And the frame relaxed, and it dropped in exactly where it's supposed to be. You can see it's not sprung at all anymore. See? It's also give you an idea how the Sigmund works when you want to put a hold down on it. So you've got, let's go through here. That's in there too tight. So it's got the weight of the car on it. It's not going to come off that easy. But, you know, if you grab one of the hold down clamps, or set up whatever you want to call these things, stick it in the hole. It's got an O-ring on the end to keep it in place. Pop it in the hole. Drop it down. Set the set screw. Turn the handle. And that's it. It's locked in. Same thing this way. I wanted to be able to set it, you know, left and right to keep the chassis from going left and right on the table. So I basically came in this side to the lower 2/3 of the frame. Put a Sigmund in down there, put a fence out here, tightened another one up. So you guys get an idea how the table works. All right, so we've kind of covered, you know, sometimes you can buy a car and it be bent, right? And hopefully you have something to straighten it on, or you're gonna have problems. Other problems that this car had was they assembled all the pieces, so they kind of knew how to assemble things. The problem is to get a coilover out of this front end, you got to pull all this stuff apart. And these bolts are stainless. They don't really like going in and out of chromoly all the time, which it's not good. You know, I mean, anybody that's dealt with stainless will tell you the problems that we could have there. They did put anti-seize on it, but still, you know, none of the adjusters they're all to the maximum inward. So when you look at this alignment of this, you know, everything's off. The camber's off. The toe's kind of close, but the adjustment for bump steer has already been, you know, it's set. It can be adjusted, but it's kind of ridiculous. You know, these spindles are made by Chassis Works. You aren't supposed to be taking these off unless you're going to be replacing a lower ball joint. So it's kind of ridiculous that they assembled all this stuff because it's got to come apart for paint at least. Anyways, and the calipers came wrapped, so they've had this car together before. So brand new calipers, everything on this car is brand new. The calipers came in this Home Depot box, wrapped in one baggie each, which... not the way you'd really want to be shipping brand new calipers, but that's the way they came. So same thing with the adapters. So it was interesting. I mean, luckily nothing was scratched up, which is great, but still, that's not the way you want to see your stuff get shipped across the country. These are the other type of height adjusters. It's just a little T-bar. So it's flat right here. It's got a bar that goes down the center. These are centerless ground spacers. They come from 1 millimeter all the way up to 50 millimeter in the kit, and then you just assemble what you need and put them in there. So if it drops in between a millimeter, which would be pretty close build, right? It'd be 39 thousandths or something like that, 42, whatever the hell it is, 39 or 42 thousandths. You could still use the verniers. So you could take this stack just like that, and you could put it on a vernier like that, and then just make the adjustment, right? Like I did back here. Plus, with the stack on top, you can take this 5-inch vernier and turn it into like 8 or 10 inches almost, something like that. I forget what the overall height is. What else can I tell you about this car and this table? It's getting the sock motor out of the other Chassis Works car. As you remember, the other car is center locks. This one is lug nutted. This one has remote reservoirs. I don't believe the other car went remote reservoir. I don't remember exactly, but pretty cool stuff. They're just covered up so that they don't get hit by sparks when the things were getting cut out. Sock motors in it. you know, needs to be built. It's going off to Kazi for that. It's just in here for mock-up to do headers, you know, while it's super easy to get to here. Waiting on the oil pan to double check the cross member clearance. And also we had verniers put in on the cross member because that's a critical location. So this is 5-inch in this car. That's a 5-inch stack, but I was able to adjust it with this way. So the verniers are used for critical locations. The verniers themselves are about, I think they're $800 or $900 a piece. So you put 8 of them on a Sigmund table. You know, you've got an $8,000 investment plus the table, plus this kind of stuff, and you know, the hold downs and everything. So it's a big deal. It's an expensive investment, but it pays for itself pretty quick if you build chassis, because something like this would have been a couple days probably to fix. I straightened this car out in about, once the car was mounted on the table, which took about an hour to get it all set up and locked down, which is super fast. To make the adjustments on it took not even a half an hour, and the car was straight. So, you know, that's the best thing about it. It just saves time. If you build chassis, you need something like this. The boxes are really nice that they come with. Super heavy glides on them. The cabinet's not coming apart. I've actually lifted this table by the corner of this cabinet, and this table probably weighs, I think it's around 3,000 pounds. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on the table. For sure, with the extensions on it, this has got a 2-inch extension in the front and a 2-inch extension on the rear on a 10-foot table. What I like about this, doing it this way, is you can get in the center, right? I could have actually mounted these out even further this way, taken the attachments, mounted them on the inside, come to the inside of the frame rail here, and been working more in the middle, right in there, right? Which is super cool. Same thing with the back. So I set up the back the same way on this one. 4-inch extenders on the back. So you can see I set this one up wider. So you can kind of go inside here, right? And work up in here. So another thing, you know, this is not all from me. This is the way the car came. I mean, it's got brand new shocks mounted, and it's got, you know, metal and stuff everywhere, which is not good when you've got an open diff sitting there, right? And Hymens all over that, you know, don't like that kind of stuff around them, right? Diffs like that. Also, not really anybody's fault, but when you buy something like this, you don't know if this gap is right. It actually looks a little too close unless this car has a spool, and this car does not have a spool. This third member that came with this car is a track lock, or not a track lock. It's Strange's Quadrilock or something like that. And I know that there needs to be more gap than this in there. So something else that needs to be addressed. You know, those axles are probably going to need to get cut down. And there's enough spline. They won't need to get resplined, but they'll definitely need to be cut down for more clearance. All right, so we kind of crammed what could go wrong with a build and or a buy of a race car, and what we like about the Sigmund, right? Or what I like about the Sigmund. It's just an awesome table. It just saves a ton of time. It's super quick to set up. That's it, guys. Subscribe, like, comment. You know, hopefully I can get this thing done by the San Marino show. That's when my friend wants to go to well, he wants it as a roller for the San Marino show. So, but he's got 4 Mustangs he wants done. I don't know if that's going to happen, you know, when you're helping a friend out and he's not here and you're not getting paid. You're just doing this one as a favor. So, all right, that's it. Hope you guys learned something.